Hey guys, so the November real estate board stats are out and we're going to review those so you have a better idea of what's going on here in our marketplace in the GTA. We're also going to talk a little bit about interest rates and the fact that they went up on December 7th and what that means for you as a buyer or a seller here in our GTA market. Of course, we're always here to give you information, and here we go with the new video. Hey guys, so as always, we're gonna review the real estate numbers that came out in November. We do this every single month so that you guys have an insight as to what's going on in our marketplace. This definitely helps our clients, and it also helps you guys, the public, and get you information all in a condensed way. Of course, we're gonna give you our insights as well because we are feet on the ground here. We do have buyers and sellers in our marketplace that are currently active, and so we're seeing things from a different perspective, and likely we're able to give you some more information that you won't get listening to the news or the radio. So let's pull up our first chart here to take a look at where we are today and how we got here over the last few months. So let's put this up now. All right, guys, so we have our average price chart up. This is our doc graph, something we look at every month as well. It kind of paints a picture. It tells the story of how we got here month over month over the last many years. So this is what this is representing. And the most recent story has been flat growth, and most recently small decline from the month of October. You see that we've had 4 months of more or less flat growth. Last month, a bit of a decline. We're actually down 1% from November last month. And I want to actually point out what this looks like from in previous years. So October to November, how did we fare in the years past? Obviously, we're actually going into Christmas months now. It's holiday season, and it's really common for our activity to drop and for sales to drop and even price points to drop going from October to November. If we look back in 2018, we see that from October to November, we had a decline. 2019, October to November, we had a decline. Same thing happened in 2020. From October to November, we had a decline. Only in 2021, maybe, let's see actually. October to November, we had a bit of an incline. And we're kind of back into that mode now. From October to November in 2022, we had a decline. Last year, we had a decline as well, believe it or not. It was a small decline just before we went on such a rip here with average prices. And, you know, since then, we've come down quite a bit. And we're kind of holding now, which is very, very interesting. All right, so let's take a look at our month-to-month chart here. These are our month-to-month changes, and it's the next thing we normally review. Let's take a look at the numbers real quick. So we had about 2,000 sales and an average price of just under 1.4 million for detached homes, about 386 sales for semis, and we're just under 1,040,000. Townhouses, 774 sales and at about 900,000 average price last month. For condos, we're at 1,289 and we're about a $708,000 on average price. You see that for the most part, we're negative here month to month on the sales volume. And for the most part, we're negative on the month to month as well. Actually, detached homes were the only property type that did go up by a little bit over 1%. But if you notice here, we're definitely in the negatives here month over month for the remaining property type semis, townhomes, and condos. All on average, bringing us to about a negative 1% month over month from October 2022. This is kind of our story for the month over month change, but we just saw in the previous chart that it kind of makes sense that we're 1% lower since October. This is kind of something that's happened for the last few years, the last 4 years at least, because we are heading into Christmas months, holiday season. Typically in the winter months, we do have a bit of less activity and we do experience lower price points. Okay. The bigger number here though is our sales total, which if I add all these guys up here in the sales column, is at about 4,500 sales this month, and that's probably the bigger story here. So I'm going to switch over to another chart to explain why. Okay, so we're switching over here to another chart. I just want to point out the number of sales. The first column here, this is just for the month of November. We're comparing to previous months. We're at 4,500 sales, 4,544 to be exact. And we're basically almost at 50%. To be exact, we're 49% less sales than the same time in November of last year. And if you notice here, in previous years, we typically have about 8,000 sales, 8,000 sales. We're almost half of what we normally sell in the month of November, which is really interesting. However, if you look onto the other columns here, active listings, we're still at about just under 12,000 active listings, which is a lot higher than last year. But if you look at 2020, 2019, 2018, we're kind of like 10,000 listings, and that's actually pretty normal. So this is why it's keeping our price kind of flat over those last few months. And we noticed that our months of inventory here are only 2.62, which is still technically speaking on the seller side slightly. And this is what's kind of interesting about this. This is the reason why prices have kind of been holding since summertime, because of the fact that we have, even though we have slower sales, our active listings are still kind of high. And it's kind of showing me that sellers are also not in a rush to list properties. We're going to look at our year-to-year numbers, and you're going to see that new listings are way down actually, and this is what's kind of keeping our price pretty steady. So basically there is less overall activity, but there are also less sellers in the marketplace too. See, the thing is, new listings are also down, and when you pair this with less overall sales, then we're kind of in the position that we are right now, where we're kind of holding in price despite interest rate increases that have obviously happened over this year. So very interesting to note. All right, guys, so this is our year-over-year stats, starting with sales. So this is where you see we're actually down 49% from last year. You look at this bar graph, you see we're basically halfway of what we were in 2021, which is very interesting to note. If I scroll down here, we also take a look at our average price, and we're down slightly here as well. To be exact, we're down 7.2%, and expect this number to actually increase in the coming months, because we are going to start comparing to months that were a lot stronger. And my guess is that this year we're not going to fare as strongly as we did last year for sure. Okay, so we're going to expect that 7.2% decrease in price to climb in the months to come. And so here is our chart, which gives us a little bit more insight regarding different numbers. So you see here, new listings are down 11% and active listings are up from last year. So this is what I was mentioning. New listings, there's less people going on the market. We're at actually just under 12% less than November of last year. And our active listings have almost doubled, right? So we're half in sales, we're almost double in active listings. This is what's keeping that equilibrium, interestingly, kind of stable. And we're going to have to see how it goes over the next few years to see if anything changes. The other thing as well is our days on the market. We're at approximately 1 month, in between 22 and 33 days, depending on your micro market. So all really depends on where you live. Some properties are selling a lot quicker than others. Some properties are, have a higher sale price than others as well on average, all really depending. Now guys, let me remind you that these are average numbers across the Toronto Real Estate Board, which covers a large geographical area, and not necessarily the same numbers that you're experiencing in your micro market. And I'm going to switch to another page here to kind of explain what I mean. So here's a price change chart from October to November. That's the theme of this video. And I'm just going to point out Durham here, and specifically Uxbridge. Okay, you see that Uxbridge is down 7% compared to Scugog, that's actually up 8%. From last month to this month. Now, obviously, each micro market experiencing something completely different. Now, in addition to that, let's take a look at the volume. In Uxbridge, we actually have 19 sales that we're looking at here. And under, Brock and Scugog combined, which have the highest increases, we're just under 40 sales between both. But when we look at Clarington and Oshawa, we actually have over 100 sales, so that's a much larger sample. And they're actually down in between 1.5 to 2.4% for the month over month, which is actually more consistent with that average drop of 1% across all markets. And this is really just to demonstrate to you guys that your micro market might be performing completely different. And we have a little visitor here, over here. That's just to show you that we have a complete difference in micro markets depending on where you live. And you'd have to just check in with us to see how things are going in your particular market. Now, this is a great time to tell you that if you're curious about your current home value, then we got you covered. You can use the Calendly link below to actually set up a 30-minute real estate call with us. And what we're going to do on that call is we're going to show you comparable sales in your marketplace so that have a better understanding of what the value of your current house is. And in addition to that, we're going to show you what we can do with our app and the fact that you can actually hop in there and look at sold prices on your own so that in the future you can always know what's going on in your neighborhood. If you're interested in that, click on the links below and we'll be in touch soon so we can get you more information. All right, now those were the stats, and pretty much there was no surprises there. We knew that, activity was likely going to drop from October to November. We knew that we're going to have negatives in terms of average price from last year because we had very strong end of last year and beginning of 2022. So we're expected over the next few months, we're likely going to see more negatives in our numbers. However, we got to put things into perspective, and it was really interesting to see that even though our sales volume is down, our active listings is up and our new listings is down. And so this is what's keeping us at this stable market price for now. And we're going to have to see into the future what happens. And obviously we're going to be here to report this to you one step at a time. Now, the other interesting thing was probably the bigger news of this month was the Bank of Canada's December 7th. We just had an increase of 50 basis points for interest rates here in Canada. Now, this continues to impact variable rate mortgages and other products such as lines of credits or any loan that's on a variable term. Obviously, with the Bank of Canada increasing rates, it's going to obviously increase your price as well. And many people are experiencing that across Canada. We already know that the Bank of Canada has mandated to reduce inflation down to 2%. We're still hovering just under 7% at the moment, and it's probably going to take a long time for us to get back down to 2%, which means they have to keep interest rates high, and this is impacting real estate prices amongst many other things here in Canada. So you must know that the Bank of Canada is doing this on purpose, and this is because inflation is the highest that we've actually ever seen in decades, and of course they need to put a plan in place in order to reduce this. Now on the flip side, I've heard that 5-year fixed rates have actually dropped below 5%, best rates, and actually insured mortgage rates are hovering maybe even halfway through 4%, so 4.5%, somewhere along there, and that's actually great news. Now let's face it, guys, any decrease in interest rate right now is going to help the Canadian buyer, and this is definitely great news. Remember, you can still buy a house in this market. You just need to have a really good plan in place. You need to be buying long term, and you need to study the numbers to make sure you can actually keep up with those monthly payments. That is going to be key in this particular market. You are getting it at a much better price point, so I think that's really, really great news. Sellers are also really concerned about their home values, and they're really confused about whether they should sell now or if they should be waiting for better time. Well, what I can tell you is those better times might be a little bit further away. We know that the Bank of Canada wants to reduce inflation, and likely these high interest rates are going to be in place for the remainder of 2023. So if you are looking to sell out of necessity and you want to capture the most price that you can at the moment, then I'm probably going to say it's going to be sooner rather than later. I really don't think that you're going to have a better scenario in the months to come. Although, the Toronto real estate market is obviously very interesting, and it has a mind of its own. So we're going to have to see how things go, but I would say sooner rather than later if you really need to sell at the moment. Now, if you like this video, please like and subscribe so you don't miss out on future content. We do this every single month. All right, guys, so it is Danilo from the King Realty Group. I do appreciate you guys hopping on this video with me, and I hope you have a great one. We're going to talk in the next video. Take care. Talia, you drew something for me?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's see. Oh, wow. You want to show the people what you drew? Oh, the King Realty Group. What were you copying?
Your shirt.
You're copying my shirt. Well, there you go. Where's all your fan art? Guys, you like my videos or what? I need to see your version of King Realty Group. Thank you, Talia. Say hi.
Hi.
And say bye.
Bye.